I made $25,000 in 2 hours, and you could too. If we haven't met yet, my name is Connor. I own Locker Room Finance, a financial education company I built just for student athletes. We provide these athletes with financial education in a way that they actually enjoy so that they can win with money. This episode is all about scholarships. Sorry for the clickbait title, but I did make $25,000 in 2 hours, and here's exactly how I did it. I had a really great friend, her name is Ann, and she encouraged me to apply for the UTSA Alumni Association scholarship when I was a senior in high school, and it ended up paying off big time. I submitted an application. I might have also uploaded a video and some photos of me, but all in all, it took me 2 hours to apply for this scholarship. In the UTSA Alumni Association, I have great friends over there still to this day, and the scholarship was $5,000 a year, and I was in college for 5 years. So I got $25,000 paid to me over 5 years of college for just 2 hours of work. That's $12,500 per hour of effort. I will probably never do anything again in my life that could make me $12,000 in 1 hour. But if Ann hadn't told me about that scholarship, I would have missed out on every single dollar. I also won a $1,000 scholarship from a local burger joint just for submitting a video of me playing my bassoon. I was a band kid back in the day, and I played my bassoon and submitted a video, and I won $1,000 from the local burger joint. It took me 5 minutes to submit. I got $1,000 and a free hamburger, which is a pretty good deal to me. Looking back, I wish I had applied for more scholarships every single semester. If you've heard my story, I had about $22,000 student loans. I would have had more student loans had I not received a few of the scholarships that I did along the way, but I probably could have had $0 in student loans if I would have applied for more scholarships every single semester. My wife's story, my girlfriend at the time in college, she didn't apply for the Alumni Association scholarship that I had, but as a third-year student, her very last semester of college, she graduated in 3 years, she applied for that Alumni Association scholarship, and she got $2,500 her very last semester of school from the same scholarship fund that I had applied for as a freshman. The biggest myth around scholarships is that scholarships are just for high school seniors and you either get it or you don't. There are a ton of scholarships for high school seniors, but most of those are also open to college students. There are thousands of scholarships available for current college students, grad students, transfers, walk-ons. I mean, everything you can imagine, there's a specific scholarship for that type of person. Colleges, private organizations, nonprofits, local businesses, all of these people offer scholarships. And sometimes the reality is those scholarships go unclaimed because not enough people apply for them. There are also scholarships just for student athletes, even beyond what your school gives you. And obviously today we're in the NIL world. And so when I say scholarships, you could replace that with NIL opportunities. But still, some of them are application-based scholarships. Many of these aren't based on GPA, but they're based on leadership qualities, community service, your personal background, where you come from, who you are, what you look like. And when I was a senior in high school, I didn't have the best grades. I had okay grades, but I was the leader of the marching band. I was the captain of my golf team. I had reference letters from my principal, and so I was able to put together applications that showed the reviewers of the scholarships that I was someone that would do well in a college setting. I would continue to work hard. I had some leadership qualities that made me attractive to the panel, and I filled out the application in a way that was just me being myself. And we'll talk a little bit later about what to do when you apply for these scholarships, but don't be scared of a 20-minute application process. Apply for the scholarship, because if you don't get it, oh, well, you wasted 20 minutes. If you do get it, you might make $500 for that 20 minutes. You might make $10,000 for that 20 minutes. If you're not actively searching for scholarships, you're probably leaving money on the table. Let's talk a little bit about where to find scholarships, where to find grants. Scholarships are usually more merit-based and grants are usually more need-based. So starting with scholarships, the first thing you should do is talk to your school. Go to your financial aid office, ask them if there are any scholarships specifically for your major, your sport, your ethnic background, anything that identifies you as unique. There might be a scholarship for that. I mean, there might be a scholarship for Hispanic female athletes that are juniors in Montana. Like I don't know what it is, but there are pots of money out there. There are organizations that have put money together that want to give opportunities for certain groups they're passionate about to go to college and to not have to take out as many student loans. And so there's money sitting out there that you could apply for. And so the first place to start would be at your school's financial aid office. Talk to your athletic department. And side note on this, not from my notes, but get clarity on your athletic scholarship. I'm shocked at how many athletes I talk to and I say, are you on a full scholarship? And I think so. Okay, so you're on a partial scholarship? Yeah, they give me money sometimes, and I think they're going to pay for next year, but maybe not. I'm going to do a fifth year, and I don't think I'm going to get my scholarship. You need to know what your scholarship is. You've worked really hard for this. Talk to your coach, talk to your athletic department, get clarity on how much is your scholarship, if you have one, from the athletic department. When are they going to pay you? When are they not going to pay you? Do you get paid in the summer semester? Do you only get paid in the summer semester if you take classes? Do you have a stipend? And how often is a stipend paid out? You should know all of these things about your athletic scholarship. Also talk to your professors within whatever school you're in. If you're in the business school or you're getting a marketing degree, talk to the professors in that area and see if there are any program-specific scholarships that you could apply for. And then kind of like I alluded to earlier, diversity scholarships. You can go to the diversity or the first gen offices. If you're a first gen student, minority student, a member of a specific type of community, you might qualify. There might be more money out there, and you might qualify for extra grants or scholarships. So the first thing was start with your school. Second one, search for external scholarships. A few places you could start: fastweb.com, scholarships.com, bold.org. And I spent 3 minutes looking up scholarship sites online, and those seem like a great place to start. You could look for local scholarships, small businesses, even if it's $500, $1,000. Many community foundations, churches, businesses, they'll offer money to students in their area. And if you can submit an application and you get $500 out of it, it's a pretty good return on your time. Companies will have scholarships. Sometimes your parents' employers might offer tuition assistance or scholarships for employees' kids. So ask your parents if they have anything like that at their job. I just want to encourage you to, yes, start with your school, but then search external resources and find other scholarships that you could qualify for and apply for them. Now, when it comes to grants, these are usually need-based, and there's sometimes some emergency aid situations. If you have a financial hardship, some schools will offer emergency grants for their students, and that's, a couple $1,000s or something. If you can prove that there's a legitimate financial hardship, your university might be able to give you some money in the form of a grant, not a student loan, something you don't have to pay back. Now, when it comes to FAFSA, the Pell Grants and things like that, make sure you file that FAFSA document every single year to get the grants, because again, grants are need-based and you don't have to pay them back, unlike student loans. I was always confused about what is a grant and what is a loan and what is a scholarship. Scholarship and grants are free money given to you either because of who you are, where you're from, what you're doing. Student loans, you have to pay those back. Okay, scholarships, grants, don't pay back. Student loans, pay back. Takeaway for this section is there's actually more money out there than you think. It's just about knowing where to look and actually applying for it. If, my old band director, Ron Ellis, used to say, if you don't ask, the answer is always no. If you don't apply for the scholarship, you're never going to get one. There was a student athlete I talked to recently that was going to some form of grad school in the next couple of years. And for grad school, I always say, try and get a GA position, a graduate assistantship, a teacher's assistant. Get something where they will pay for your school and pay you usually on top of that to go to school. But outside of that, I told this athlete, between now and when you actually start school, your part-time job is applying for scholarships. You're going to apply for scholarships twice a week for 2 hours each time. And it would be unreasonable at that point that you wouldn't win some of those scholarships. If you're applying to scholarships for 2 hours a day, twice a week for a whole year, that should be your part-time job all throughout college. Just reaching out, trying to see where can you get some free money? Where can you get some scholarships? And you might have to do some things in return for this. I know some of the scholarships that I had, I would have to attend a certain dinner, go to a function, meet a donor, submit a video. But if you're giving me thousands of dollars a year, and in exchange for that, I have to attend a yuppie dinner for free, paid for by someone else, and shake some donors' hands and maybe get on stage and say thank you. Fair trade in my book. I'll take that any day of the week. Now, how do you actually win these scholarships and not just waste your time? A lot of athletes don't apply because they think it takes too much time, but I want you to work smarter, not harder. So focus on scholarships with actually fewer applicants. And so local niche scholarships are usually less competitive than the big national ones. The smaller the scholarship, the fewer people apply, which increases your chances of winning. So it also probably means the smaller the dollar amount, the less people will apply and increase your chances of winning. I want you to go after the big ones as well, but identify scholarships where some people might not be applying. I know there's some here in San Antonio that I was told my senior year of high school, send in a 1-page application for this, no essay required, and you will get the scholarship. And there's funds in the city. I don't remember what exact organization it was, but everyone that applied got a $350 scholarship. And all I had to do was 1 paper. And so that was definitely worth my time. You should repurpose your scholarship essays. You don't need a brand new essay for every single application. Most of the scholarships ask similar questions. So just take your best essays and tweak them depending on what this one asks for. I would encourage you to use AI. I mean, that's the world we live in right now. I would never tell someone to fully write an essay using ChatGPT. That's not a good thing. I use ChatGPT a lot in my business, but I never use it for the final product. Here's exactly how I would use ChatGPT if I were applying for scholarships today. I would give ChatGPT the prompt, and then I would tell Chat a lot about my life. Here's who I am. Here's where I came from. Here's what I care about. Here's what I want to do in life. And then I would tell it to ask me more questions about myself so it can learn more about me personally, share some stories with ChatGPT. And then at the end of that, I would ask it to help me identify a few key points that would be worth talking about to increase my chance of winning the scholarship. And based on the conversation we have there, then I would go and actually write the essay. I think a lot of people focus too much on the exact grammar of the essay, and maybe it's just my perspective, but I think people care more about passion. Obviously, the grammar needs to be correct. I've been fortunate enough to sit on the reviewing panel for some scholarships now post-grad, and grammar matters, but more than that, when I'm reviewing a scholarship application, I want to see someone that's ready to put in some work, someone that's excited to be going to school, someone that is going to go to college, actually graduate, become a contributing member of society. I mean, if you're someone that is young, scrappy, and hungry, I mean, that's what scholarship reviewers, at least in my experience, that's what we're looking for when we're reading scholarship essays. I don't need you to have a perfect life in a 4.0, but I do want you to be involved with some clubs, have some leadership experience under your belt. I want to see that you've done more than just go to class, get straight A's, and you figured out how to write the perfect essay. I want to see your heart. I want to see passion. And so when you're writing these essays, put some of that into it. And if you want to use AI to help you, I encourage you to do that. I mean, I do that stuff all the time, but I would not give ChatGPT the prompt and say, write a perfect essay to make me win this scholarship. That's not the way that you want to win scholarships. And I'd be willing to bet that, you thinking about your own life can come up with a much better and compelling story for why you should win the scholarship than ChatGPT ever could. Last point on applying for scholarships, apply for a lot of scholarships. Apply for a lot of scholarships. Let's say you spend 50 hours and apply for 100 scholarships. So it takes you 50 hours of time. And through that, if you get back $10,000, you just made $10,000 in one work week. Or maybe you get scholarships that are recurring every year, and you might get $25,000, $50,000 out of that. It would definitely be worth everyone's time listening to this podcast to spend a few hours per week applying for scholarship. Now, on Team LRF, we want to be people that are smart and intentional with our money. And part of that is, if there's free money out there, throw your name in the hat, ask for it, see if you can get it. And if you are receiving a scholarship right now, reach out and ask if they're going to give it to you again next year. And if they say that's not really how it works, ask them if it could be the way it works. I mean, I think one of my scholarships was supposed to be a 4-year scholarship. I ended up doing school for 5 years. And so when I asked, I said, I'm going to be in school again for my 5th year because I studied abroad and because I'm student teaching. And, I wasn't a horrible student, but I just didn't get all my classes done very quickly. And so my 5th year, I said, could you honor that scholarship for my 5th year? And they said yes. And that was a couple $1,000s that I would have missed out on if I didn't seek that out. Talking a little bit more athletically, if you lose your athletic scholarship, it's not the end of the world. I mean, you could get injured, coaches could change, or other reasons. If this happens to you, check with your athletic department and financial aid office and see if there are any hardship funds, some NCAA organizations, people like that, they might offer aid to injured athletes. You know, if you do get injured and so you lose your scholarship, like there might be some opportunities out there for you to receive some money if you end up in a position where you're losing out on your scholarship. Walk-on athletes, keep hustling, keep grinding. You're at a point of life where you are around a bunch of other people that are being paid to do basically the same stuff that you're doing. And you're out there hustling, you're grinding, you're trying to prove yourself, you're on a practice squad. And I respect you, love what you're doing, and keep working hard. The videos on Instagram always get me when the coach, you know, hypes up a walk-on and then says they're on full scholarship. And the room goes crazy. People love walk-ons. And so if you're a walk-on, it's your first or second year, ask your coach, what do I need to get on scholarship? What are the metrics you need to see? How high do I need to jump? How fast do I need to run? How hard do I need to tackle someone? I mean, ask them exactly what is it going to take for you to get on scholarship. And don't be shy to tell them that that is your goal. You know, you're not just set as a walk-on for the rest of your life. You're a walk-on that's trying to get a scholarship spot. And depending on your sport, that might be easier or harder, but I would encourage you to have an open conversation with your coach often. Also, if you're a walk-on, consider academic scholarship. If you got a solid GPA, you know, if it's above a 3.5, if it's above a 3.8, all the scholarship I had to keep a 3.0, and I barely did that. There was one semester where I ended up getting a C or a D in a class, and my GPA dipped down to a 3.01, and that was my third year of college. No, that was my second year of college, and so if my GPA would have gone below 3 at all, I would have lost out on about $35,000 worth of scholarships. I'm very glad that my GPA was barely good enough to stay above a 3. All that to say, if you've got a 3 or higher, you can qualify for a lot of academic scholarships. And the higher GPA, the more likely it is that you would get other scholarships as well. Some of them have higher barriers to entry, but a lot of them are right there at about 3 or 3.5. For my grad school students, if you're planning on grad school, look for assistantship programs, look for fellowships, look for grants that will cover the cost of school. Some employers will even pay for your school, but keep in mind that when entering into one of those agreements. Same thing with the military. The military will pay for medical school if you enter into a certain agreement with them. But just keep in mind, what are you signing up for, and how certain are you that you're going to see that through? The worst thing would be that you get in one of those programs, you go through it, and then something happens, and now you owe them back a bunch of money. Last thing on grad school, be smart about where you're going to grad school. I had a conversation with an athlete recently, and they were debating between two schools. One of them was going to be 2 years for $103,000. The other school was the same degree, also 2 years, for $37,000. I understand that, you know, each college offers you a certain lifestyle, and one might be prettier than the other. It might be in a different part of town that you like better. But ask yourself, and this is what I asked the athlete, I said, is it worth $70,000 more of student loans to go to this school? And if your answer to that is honestly yes, that's okay. That's your decision. My answer would be no. If I could find a place to go that was much less expensive and I'm getting the same degree and similar quality education, I understand that education is different, and the more you pay, you're probably getting something better. But at the end of the day, if you're learning what you need to learn and you're going to graduate with the degree and the skills necessary to do a certain job, get the cheaper option. So no matter your situation, a walk-on, scholarship athlete, injured, grad school, there's money out there waiting for you if you'll go actually apply for it and throw your name in the hat, and who knows, you might get picked. This is your scholarship game plan. Step 1, search for scholarships today. Check with your financial aid office, athletic department, academic department. Look up external scholarships on FastWeb, bold.org, scholarships.com. Look for scholarships today. Step 2, set a goal, at least one scholarship every week. Always save your essays to reuse them in the future. And then step 3, keep applying every year. There are some seasons that are better or worse for applying for scholarships, but if you apply every year, when you're a freshman, sophomore, junior, senior, grad student, you're more likely to get money than if you stop applying after your freshman year. Scholarships are not just for high schoolers. Student athletes at all levels can find and win free money if you actually take the time to look. Final thoughts, student athletes at all levels can find and win free money through scholarships if you actually take the time to look. This is Locker Room Finance Podcast. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time.